Okay, so here's one of the airbag sensors for this 2011 Traverse. There's actually one here on the passenger side and another one on the driver's side on this front cross support. And two things to note about this. The first is how this connector works, which I'll show you. But second is the bolt that holds it in. So this actually sets right here in the front of this frame. But this is a left-hand threaded bolt. So it's a T30, and when you go to loosen it, don't turn it left, you got to turn it to the right, because all you're going to be doing is tightening it if you go to the left. So, because this has left-hand threads. And I guess they do this on purpose so that you take note that this is something important that you don't want to screw around with. Obviously, it's the impact sensor. So for disconnecting this wire, it's a little bit tricky. There's a little red tab under here that you have to slide back. That's the lock. The little gray button here is the actual release. But the release won't work as long as that red button is pushed forward. So the way I do it is with the edge of a screwdriver, just pull that back, and then you can use your finger to push up that little gray tab, push in, and then disconnect the connector. Now, when you go to put this back together, it's equally as tricky because when these have not been disconnected before, they're a little bit stiff, and sometimes the red lock tab won't go back in. So you might have to take the corner of your screwdriver and push down on the little red line, the little red thin piece of plastic, to make it tuck under the bottom of the sensor, the bottom of this little plastic here, and then you should be able to push this up to lock it. And then likewise, when you go to pull this out, there's also a little keeper. There's a keeper for the keeper. So it's really hard to move by hand, but with a screwdriver edge, you can get it to pop backwards. And then push the button in and disconnect it. And here's what the sensor looks like. GM part number. And the connector.